Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure and a great honor for me to welcome all of you to this trainers program. And with this program, we have got from RSSDI National, their coordinator program to disseminate the knowledge at the peripheral level to the doctors. And we have got coordinators. Our chairman of the coordinator is Dr. S.K. Sharma. Vice chairman is Dr. Swati Srivastav and Dr. Arvind Gupta. And there are coordinators from every district. So today he will have first CME program. He will talk, Dr. S.K. Sharma will talk to all of you how to deal with the programs at the district level. So thank you so much for attending today's program, and I invite Dr. S.K. Sharma for his.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all the friends. And may I right from the beginning say that we all are thankful to Dr. K.K. Parikh sir for giving us this opportunity, myself, Dr. Swati and Dr. Arvind Gupta for coordinators meeting. And this is a very important, I should say, project, and we should be making it a grand success. As dear friends, all you know, that important or a very, very important.
सर म्यूट हो गए सर आप एसके शर्मा सर आप म्यूट हो गए सर
somebody has muted me actually. I have not. So as we all know that diabetes is a very big epidemic, and at present we are having more than 77 million diabetic patients in India, and our expected figure is going to cross more than 100 million in 2035. So figures are going high. Our population is having somehow genetic susceptibility for development of this disease. And as we all know that diabetes is not only simple hyperglycemia, it is a disease which is characterized by chronic complications. So on one hand, we have development of this disease which is occurring very early. They say 10 years before the Caucasians. Our insulin resistance is very high. We are having more complications of diabetes, and we are also having more complications of cardiovascular disease in our diabetic patient. Nephropathy is also not uncommon in our patients. So on one hand, the burden of diabetes is huge. On other hand, the complication is also huge. So to take this challenge upfront, we, under the auspices of, you can say, National RSSDI, and at the regional level at Rajasthan RSSDI, under the guidance of Dr. K.K. Parikh sir, we are organizing this coordinators meeting where every district will be represented by one or two very, you can say, enthusiastic and good worker for this program. And this is a program where we are having teaching the trainer. So teach to trainer. So we will be making all of us here, we will be treating them in such a way that they are equal to us. We are not above you. And then we will be delivering some of these important, or we will be rolling out these programs. At present, what Dr. Bansi Sabu highlighted yesterday is that on one hand, we should have a diabetes wheel and case presentation. Secondly, he wanted to have a special emphasis on type 1 diabetes and then diabetic foot problem, because these are some of the important neglected part. And then we thought that we will also discuss emergencies in diabetes, particularly diabetic ketoacidosis and hypoglycemia. And of course, we can take challenges in the form of, you can say, insulin therapy as a whole, in addition to type 1 diabetes, and diet therapy can be expanded in one of the module. So these are our future program, but at least 5 or 6 modules are to be rolled out every week. So first, today we are going to have diabetic wheel, which is, you can say, rolled out by RSSDI National. And then we will be discussing some of the case presentations, how to select an anti-diabetic drug in these patients. But another important point, what they highlighted is that all these coordinators will be choosing 2 or 3 type 1 diabetic patients. And the insulin therapy and glucometer will be given free of cost to these patients through coordinators. So coordinator will be provided with these instruments and insulin, and they will be then rolling out this program into the needy type 1 diabetic patient. As we recently highlighted in our some of the discussions, that type 1 diabetes is a neglected part, particularly in the rural area, and people are searching non-insulin therapy for type 1 diabetes. That's why we are very, very worried. And then some spurious Babajis and some trademark leaders who are under the disguise of Babaji are highlighting that you can treat the type 1 diabetics without insulin. So these are some of the fallacies and myths we have to remove. And we have to face this challenge of epidemic of diabetes in India. If we will be doing this job very sincerely, I think we will be preventing development of diabetes, and we will be particularly preventing the complications of diabetes. So this is our, you can say, focus group activity. So I stop here. Thank you. And I can invite Dr. Swati to share their.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. And at the outset, I thank Dr. Parikh Saab for giving this opportunity to all of us to coordinate with us for a very important program as Dr. S.K. Sharma Saab has just rolled out. This is a program and this is a dream project of RSSDI, that the diabetes, same guidelines, same treatment algorithm should be disseminated to the most peripheral level in the villages, if possible. This is a dream project, and I think we are all here to fulfill this dream of disseminating the knowledge, diabetes knowledge at least, to the peripheral level. And as a coordinator, as a district coordinator, you have the responsibility to do this disseminated this knowledge to the peripheral level. And I hope you must be knowing that every coordinator has 2 or 3 districts to coordinate. You have to select one district coordinator again, and then from the district coordinator select the physicians from your area. And then I think when we will roll out this program, maybe by next month after the training of all of us, then this program may be initially virtually, and later on, if possible, when the lockdown will not be there, then if possible, as a face-to-face dissemination of the knowledge to the Tehsil or to the CSC or to the PSC levels. So we will all go as a district coordinator, and some of the from the central, Dr. S.K. Sharma Saab or Dr. Swati or any of the EC member will be going with you people to the Tehsil or wherever you want to take us there. So that is first thing. Second thing, you'll, as Dr. S.K. Sharma Saab has highlighted just now, that every district coordinator will be given 2 forms. The 2 forms, and you have to fill the 2 forms for type 1 diabetes. And injection Vosulin and the gross glucometer will be provided to you to, I mean, for free insulin to type 1 diabetes, 2 of your type 1 diabetes. And I think you just encourage your district coordinator to at least select 2 type 1 diabetes to treat by yourself, free of cost insulin and free of cost glucometer. That is something very unique thing for this project. So thank you very much. And we, as today, Dr. S.K. Sharma Saab will give you the RSSDI ESI wheel, and then we will all have the next, maybe, sir, every Monday or every Tuesday we'll be doing this program.
Wednesday we had thought about.
Wednesday. So most probably every Wednesday we'll be having this program at 8:30.
8:30 every
Yeah,
Wednesday.
so that we will cover all the topic RSSDI wheels today, then case discussions, then type 1 diabetes and emergencies, and probably diet also Dr. S.K. Sharma sir want that a diet is also integral part of management of diabetes.
Diabetic foot.
So I
And
think,
diabetic
and
foot also.
diabetic foot. So these
Swati, you can
these
speak.
topics we will take within 4 or 5 weeks, and then this program you have to roll out this program to your districts,
Yes.
and you have to go and you will deliver the same thing to your colleagues there. So that is the whole program. Dr.
Dr.
Swati, you want to add? Dr. Swati?
Yes, I think mostly everything has been very. I'm audible, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
audible.
audible,
Yeah, I
audible.
think mostly everything is very detailed by Sharma sir and Parik sir and Dr. Arvind Gupta also. Only thing is that this is a training of trainers where we are going to train the selected coordinators, and then they will further be disseminating all the knowledge to all the doctors which are there in the periphery. The main idea of RSSDI being that all the doctors of periphery should be knowing about the guidelines about the treatment part, especially of some basic disorders which have been selected, as just mentioned, type 1 diabetes, RSSDI wheel, and diabetic foot, and insulin therapy. Because many places there are people are not that aware, so it should be going to the level of the districts, and then further it will go to talukas. I think that will be done very well. Once it starts to be done, I think it will become very much more easier. So I think I will not come in between now. I think I can I can hand over to Dr. S.K. Sharma sir to start his session.
In
Sir,
short,
just 1 minute
we
I'll
can
take
the
before
opinion
Dr.
of
S.K.
some of
Sharma
our
sir.
friends.
This will be an interactive. Dr. S.K. Sharma sir, Dr. Parik sir, and everybody
Ji,
wanted this program for a discussion is more discussion than the theoretical part. So you can actually unmute yourself and you can interrupt at any point of time to Dr. S.K. Sharma sir or anybody here, or
Before
you want to give your thoughts about this program, you are all welcome. So Dr. S.K. Sharma
Before
sir, please.
rolling out the first module, let's discuss some of our friends' ideas in short, that what they think, and if there will be any challenge or any problem in rolling out this program, because it is trained the trainer, and then you will be rolling out this program, and whenever you will be rolling
any
out
suggestion from
any
the
suggestion,
house? Any suggestion you want to give
in
to
short,
me,
you can
Dr. S.K.
unmute and-
Sharma, Dr. Arvind Sharma,
Yeah.
Dr. Swati? Any suggestion? Any
good
positive thing
suggestion?
you want to give?
Dr. Pradyuman, Dr.
हाँ
Girish.
sir. Hello.
Yeah,
Girish
हाँ,
Verma sir.
Verma
Yes,
sir,
sir.
नमस्कार.
Am I audible sir?
Yes,
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 sir.
yes, sir.
You are
नमस्कार.
always audible.
Namaskar,
सर नमस्कार सर.
Namaskar, sir.
सर ऐसा है कि जिस तरह से हम लोग ये स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, इसी तरह से अगर पहले जहां पर हम इसको लॉन्च करना चाहते हैं, whether it is virtually or physically, so we have to sensitize our physician friends first. We have to communicate them initial things that what we are going to do and what we are going to follow, and in advance we can send, maybe that there are many physicians which may not be well versed with this RSSDI wheel, and what are our objects, main objects, as Dr. S.K. Sharma ji or Dr. Arvind Gupta ji has told very clearly. So I think this is my suggestion, that we should first sensitize them why we are doing it, and who will be doing it, and what will be its advantage, and how can we improve the care of the patient through this program. This is the whole idea of RSSDI.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir. Thank you for your idea. Here, I just want to comment on your, you can say, idea that Dr. G.D. Ramchandani just in 24 hours has collected large number of us here. So similarly, under the leadership of Dr. G.D. Ramchandani and Dr. Parik sir and the regional coordinator, they will be, you can say, sensitizing and making this program successful at their level. And once we will be having, you can say, opening of this COVID problem, then we can also go with all of you in region. Like in some meeting, I may go, in some meeting, Dr. GD, in Arvind Gupta and Dr. Swati may go, and then we will roll out in different districts. So, of course, your idea is absolutely good, that regional people should be collecting and making this program successful by their regional, you can say, efforts.
So once they are actively involved,
मैं बताऊं डॉक्टर गिरीश वर्मा साहब, क्या है कि first we will sensitize all the regional coordinators, and once they sensitize, then they will sensitize the clinicians at the regional level, and then the district coordinators will sensitize all the physicians at their level. So all these CME programs will be conducted by the regional and the medical college level speakers and by the district coordinators. Anybody who is ready to give a lecture, he can give those lectures. ये 4 जो lectures हैं इंसुलिन पर, इस पे व्हील पर और कीटोएसिडोसिस पर और टाइप 1 डायबिटीज पर, ये सब आप लोगों को, जब आप लोग ये सारी आपको ये जो स्लाइड्स भेज दी जाएंगी, and then you will give lectures there at the district level.
Absolutely.
तो अभी तो अपना सेंसिटाइज होने की बात है, फिर जब अपन लोग सेंसिटाइज जाएंगे तब then we will go. Am I right?
ठीक है सर, ठीक है सर, absolutely right.
Any other
program?
You can say point by our friends, any other idea, good idea or good suggestion?
हाँ, कोई और बताना चाहे भले बोले सर, अपन अपनी मीटिंग है।
सोलंकी सर बताएं।
हाँ, सोलंकी सर नमस्कार।
मेरा तो
अनम्यूट करें
डॉक्टर प्रद्युमन शर्मा।
प्रद्युमन,
सर मेरा एक छोटा सा निवेदन ये है कि इतना सुंदर कार्यक्रम है तो उसके लिए आपको मैं साधुवाद देता हूँ, लेकिन साथ ही मैं ये चाहता हूँ कि अपन इसको सॉफ्टवेयर एप्लीकेशन इसका प्रोग्राम करें RSSGI का, जिसमें अपना डेटा और कलेक्ट हो जाए, नंबर 1. नंबर 2, देयर कुड बी एन SOS आल्सो which will helpline also at times. कहीं कोई प्रॉब्लम होता है, कोई पेशेंट हाइपोग्लाइसीमिया जाता है, कोई पेशेंट का ब्लड शुगर ज्यादा होता है, तो there will be helpline also to guide them. At the same time there is helpline for the dietary guidelines also, जैसे कुछ कंपनी ने कर रखा है. और उसके सबसे बड़ी बात मेरा ये है कि हम एक बहुत सिंप्लीफाइड सॉफ्टवेयर एप्लीकेशन बनाए, उस एप्लीकेशन में हम डेटा डालें, और जब डेटा डालें तो एट द एंड ऑफ अ ईयर वी विल हैव अ वेरी बिग डेटा, प्रोबेबली मे बी ऑन द अर्थ हमारा डेटा सबसे बड़ा होगा.
तो एक छोटा सा सबमिशन करूं सर मैं, डॉक्टर प्रद्युमन साहब, वी हैव ऑलरेडी सेंट, हमने 50 से ज्यादा हमने पूरे राजस्थान में लोगों को सिलेक्ट किया हुआ है, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द जो अभी यहाँ पे हैं सब लोग उसके पार्ट एंड पार्शल हैं, एंड प्रोबेबली डॉक्टर गिरीश वर्मा साहब बहुत जल्दी से हमें इसकी परमिशन देने वाले हैं. तो ये काम हम वी हैव ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड ऑनलाइन, आपको सबको थोड़े दिन में मिलने वाला है. तो वी विल बी हैविंग एवरी फॉलो अप रजिस्ट्री वेरी सून इन राजस्थान.
तो मेरा निवेदन ये
प्रद्युमन मैं बताऊं, नहीं प्रद्युमन मैं बताऊं, ये जो प्रोग्राम हो रहा है ना, उसका आइडिया ये है डिसेमिनेशन ऑफ नॉलेज. अभी डेटा वाला काम दूसरा है, ये अरविंद जी कर रहे हैं या और कोई करेगा, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग. ये तो अभी सिर्फ ये है कि हम लोग गाइडलाइंस को फॉलो करें. हमारे जो फिजिशियंस है डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पर और PSC लेवल, दे डू नॉट नो कंप्लीटली what are the guidelines, what is the treatment guidelines, management guidelines. So we want to sensitize them. That is the whole idea of these program, coordination program or trainers training program. So that is the most important. This is different thing. No, this is, we cannot club this thing with this.
Yeah, absolutely, sir.
This separately.
निवेदन यही है.
Just let me speak. This is a program where we are having education of you can say dissemination. What is your program will be taken by the regional RSSDI body, as Dr. Arvind highlighted, and Dr. Ramchandani also wanted to say something, and then we can go to Dr. Solanki also. Dr. Ramchandani.
Yes. हाँ. डॉक्टर रामचंदानी बोले.
सर मैं बोल रहा हूँ, बेसिकली ये RSSDI नेशनल का ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट है, और जब भी नेशनल ने ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाए, राजस्थान उनमें हमेशा टॉप पे रहा है, चाहे वो विलेज अडॉप्शन रहा हो या मोबाइल वैन का रहा हो, दोनों हम लोग हमेशा नंबर 1 रहे. और वही एक ड्रीम के पारी सबका भी है कि अपन इस प्रोजेक्ट को भी एज ए एंथुसियास्टिकली रखें. सब लोग एंथुसियास्टिक हैं, तो काफी टाइम से लग रहे थे, लेकिन फाइनली कल मीटिंग करके डिसाइड जो किया है वो मोटा मोटा मैं बता रहा हूँ. राजस्थान में 33 डिस्ट्रिक्ट हैं, और उसको हम लोगों ने एरिया वाइज 3-3 या 4-4 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में लेके कोऑर्डिनेटर बनाया. हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में कोऑर्डिनेटर बनाया, और हर 3-4 डिस्ट्रिक्ट के ऊपर एक रीजनल कोऑर्डिनेटर बनाए, और कुछ 6 मेडिकल कॉलेज से 2-2 हम लोग जो सोच रहे हैं जोनल कोऑर्डिनेटर्स का प्लान करेंगे. वो लिस्ट में आपको व्हाट्सएप पे डाल दूंगा, और उसमें उनको यही प्लान ये है कि जो 3 और 4 उनके मेन है RSSDI ESI गाइडलाइंस जो सिमिलर है पूरे कंट्री में, सेम टू सेम हमें जैसे वहां से स्लाइड्स आएंगी वैसे के वैसे हमें प्रेजेंट करना है, बताना है। दूसरा थेरेपेटिक व्हील केस डिस्कशन, तीसरा टाइप 1, चौथा डायबिटिक फुट, और सर ने जो हाइपो बताया हाइपोग्लाइसीमिया एंड डायबिटिक कीटोसिस। ये 5-6 प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं। RSJ नेशनल से सब डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोऑर्डिनेटर को मेल्स आना शुरू हो गए होंगे। मैं देख रहा हूँ आज 33 में से करीबन 25-26 लोगों ने ज्वाइन किया है। 5-6 लोग हैं जो अभी मैं उनसे आज बात करता हूँ, लेट्स सी, अगर नहीं होगा तो अपन वी कैन चेंज और वी कैन रिक्वेस्ट वी कैन अकॉर्डिंगली विल प्लान। तो उन सबको पास मेल में आ चुका है कि उनको 2 टाइप 1 डायबिटीज के बच्चों का जैसा बताया सेलेक्ट करें, मीटर भी वहां से आएगा, स्ट्रिप भी यहाँ से आएगी। 2 से कल उन्होंने बंसी ने कहा कि 3 भी कर सकते हैं आप, तो टोटल 100 बच्चों का हम लोग एक अपन अलग प्रोजेक्ट रखेंगे साथ में। और इसके साथ साथ ये जो कमेटी बनाई थी जो आप ऑलरेडी डिसाइड हो चुकी है, कमेटी में चेयरमैन, वाइस चेयरमैन एंड जोनल एंड रीजनल ऑल, आई थिंक ऑल सबको मैंने मेल मैसेज कर रखा है, और एक ग्रुप भी बना रखा है, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, जिसमें भी सबको डाल रखा है। एंड 2 मेन उनके जो भी स्लाइड्स मेरे पास है, मैंने दोनों स्लाइड्स डाल दिए हैं। एक केस बेस्ड डिस्कशन जो आज हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, एंड सेकंड RSJ ESI गाइडलाइंस जो कि अकॉर्डिंगली, एंड थर्ड जो आएगा उनका टाइप 1 का आएगा। तो ये बेसिक मोटिव है। अपन लोग जो इनकी डॉक्टर SK शर्मा साहब और डॉक्टर स्वाति, डॉक्टर अरुण गुप्ता जी की गाइडेंस में हम लोग डिस्ट्रिक्ट वालों को एजुकेट करेंगे या रीजनल वालों को एजुकेट करेंगे। उनका पर्पस है कि वो अपने डिस्ट्रिक्ट में वहाँ के फिजिशियंस को एजुकेट करें और मेडिकल कॉलेज के रेजिडेंट्स को एजुकेट करें। रेजिडेंट्स भी इसमें हम लोग इंक्लूड करेंगे, जिससे कि वो एक अच्छा नंबर हो। और जैसे डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोऑर्डिनेटर्स को कोई दिक्कत आती है तो रीजनल या EC वाले कोई भी बंदा या हम लोगों में से कोई एक उनके साथ वहां रहेगा whenever they need, चाहे वर्चुअल हो या फिजिकल हो। ये हम लोगों ने कल डिस्कस किया है। ये बेसिक मोटिव है, और ये चाहते हैं, पारिक साहब भी चाहते हैं कि इस प्रोजेक्ट को भी ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट की तरह रखें। और कल डॉक्टर बंसी ने भी कहा ये हमारा एक अगर प्रोजेक्ट ऑलरेडी सक्सेसफुल होगा तो एक नेशनल के लिए एक वो बनाएगा कि हाँ देखो राजस्थान ने स्टार्ट किया है। तो जैसे मोबाइल वैन को उन्होंने हमें फॉलो किया है, शायद वो इस प्रोजेक्ट को भी वो राजस्थान बाकी स्टेट्स हमें फॉलो करेंगे। ये बेसिक इसकी समरी जो है सर, जो कल डिसाइड हुई थी।
थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
और ये हम पहले ये राजस्थान इज द फर्स्ट स्टेट टू स्टार्ट दिस program, so it is really a great honor for all of us, and thank you so much for everybody to be part of this program.
Absolutely sir. Dr. Solanki sir, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
Unmute करें सर आप।
Unmute करें। Yeah.
Thank you sir, thank you everybody. नहीं, ये बहुत बढ़िया प्रोग्राम है। एक्चुअली क्या है कि डायबिटीज का जिस तरह से ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा है डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में एवरीवेयर, बड़ा मतलब हैपेजल्ड वे में है। So if the district coordinators, they are educated and then they start disseminating in the district physicians also. I think if we try and we do it, it will be a very successful and it will be an ideal program. So definitely we should do it, and everybody should put his energy to make it successful. Thank you very much.
और जरूरी नहीं है कि आप लोग 2 मरीज छांटो, 4 मरीज को भी दे सकते हैं आप इंसुलिन और ग्लूकोमीटर। हम राजस्थान RSJ की तरफ से भी दे सकते हैं। इंसुलिन जितनी भी चाहिए विलेज लेवल पर या PSC लेवल पर, किसी को भी इंसुलिन चाहिए, विल प्रोवाइड। राजस्थान RSJ विल प्रोवाइड देम फ्री इंसुलिन।
This is a very
ऐसा दो उनका है, वो कह रहे हैं नेशनल वाले कि दो पेशेंट को लीजिए, पर हम 2 हो, 3 हो, 4 हो, 5 हो, विल हेल्प।
बिल्कुल सर। अपना रीजनल भी अलग से
कितने दिन तक देंगे
उसके साथ
सर, लाइफ लॉन्ग इट इज अ लाइफ लॉन्ग प्रोजेक्ट।
25 साल तक
लाइफ लॉन्ग,
इट इज अ लाइफ लॉन्ग सर्विस
till the person starts earning at least or 25 years whatsoever.
हाँ, उसके बच्चे हो जाएंगे फिर वो आ जाएगा।
25 साल तक।
Yeah. So any other suggestion? Otherwise we can roll out the first module.
So before starting, I request our chairpersons, Dr. Arun Gupta sir and Dr. Swati Srivastava, today's scientific committee, society program chairpersons. I don't require any. I don't need no need of introduction of Dr. Arun Gupta sir. So I straightforward request Dr. Arun Gupta sir to kindly introduce the today's first lecture.
श्री गणेश शाय नमः करिए।
I think without wasting time, Dr. SK Sharma sir will please go ahead with your first CME.
सब लोग म्यूट कर लें, सब म्यूट एवरीवन प्लीज।
Absolutely, sir. Thank you, Dr. Ramchandani, to instruct everybody. But as Dr. Arvind highlighted, that this will be a discussion rather than a monologue. I will highlight these are the slides which are Dr. Surendra from Bikaner. Please mute yourself.
Parik sir, mute कर लो आप.
Yeah. So, dear friends, good evening once again. And today we are having this first module. These slides are provided to us by RSSDI. And if you see here, Dr. Surendra Kumar Bikaner, Dr. Surendra Kumar Bikaner.
Dr. Surendra Kumar to Girish Verma sir.
Yeah. Please, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So, let's go to the first module, that is the wheel, diabetic wheel. So, dear friends, this is RSSDI and ESI, Endocrine Society of India. Together, they clubbed their meeting and then they roll out this clinical practice recommendation for the management of type 2 diabetes. And this recommendation were published in our RSSDI journal, that is the International Journal of Diabetes Development. And here you find this is the title, and these are some of the, you can say, contributor in that recommendation. So we can also do one more thing. We can email you the full text of this RSSDI ESI clinical practice recommendation. So it is actually a big document, but it is very handy and very useful. So all what we will be discussing today are already there in and explaining it to you. So I will request Dr. Ramchandani to disseminate this document to everybody who is today in our meeting. So dear friends, again, this is the journal and this article was published there, this is guidelines. Okay. So today's contents will be what we see in Indian context, why these things are relevant in our Indian context. Whenever we are treating our diabetic patient, many things are relevant only to us. For example, our diabetic patients are developing diabetes at 10 years before Caucasian. Our complication rate is very high. Okay, we are not having very high BMI, but our abdominal obesity is more problematic. And then there are some management guidelines which are different from the Western guidelines. For example, in Western guidelines, GLP-1 receptor agonists are given very high preference because most of the time these drugs, which are very costly and injectable, are provided by insurance companies there. But in Indian context, these drugs are considered to be costly, and usually our patients are not able to afford because they have to pay from their own pocket. But the important point about this module is that it has very simplified the approach to a diabetic patients as regards selection of oral anti-diabetic drugs are concerned. So what they came out with this ABCD and EFGH approach. So we'll be discussing this ABCD EFGH approach, which is very, very simplified version of how to select a patient, what type of anti-diabetic drug you will be giving to him. So dear friends, these are the factors which are relevant to Indian context. For example, we have a very high prevalence of diabetes as well as pre-diabetic patients. So pre-diabetic patients, as we earlier used to call impaired glucose tolerance, these patients are also very high in our population. And conversion from pre-diabetes to diabetes is very, very rapid in India as compared to other countries. So we have a very huge load of pre-diabetes and the conversion rate is very high. And then diabetic number is very, very high, and it will keep on increasing. At present, we are having more than 77 million, and we are going to cross 101 million in 2035. So onset of diabetes, as highlighted earlier also, it develops a decade earlier in our patient as compared to the Western countries. We have high prevalence of diabetes related both microvascular as well as macrovascular complications. Another important point is that we have a great rural-urban divide. The prevalence is very high in urban area, particularly if you look into some of these metro cities like Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, or Delhi even. you find that something like 20% people are suffering from diabetes, and about 10 to 15% of them are having pre-diabetes. Then rural area facilities are lacking on other hand. And then we Indians are having these two very peculiar, you can say, condition, that sedentary lifestyle, and very physically we are very inactive. This is a very important problem throughout the Indian context. And the cost of diagnosis, cost of treatment and monitoring and prevention is considered to be higher in our population, because financially we are not as strong as European and Americans, and we have limited resources. So dear friends, once we start treating our diabetic patient, here I will stop, and I will say one important point, that whenever any friend have any, you can say, query or any additional point, they can unmute and they can speak in between also. So it is not a monologue. Okay. So dear friends, first important thing, we say that lifestyle measures, what we label it as a medical nutrition therapy, MNT, and lifestyle modification. So here they highlight that nutritional counseling may be provided by healthcare providers themselves, because many a time we find it that they do not have nutritionists or dietitians or diabetic educator with them. So once they have a basic knowledge of nutritional counseling, they can also counsel their patient regarding medical nutrition therapy. And overall, you will find that reduced consumption of simple carbohydrate. What we say earlier, our Indian diet is having very high carbohydrate, particularly to the tune of 65 to 70% of our diet comprises of carbohydrate. So we want that it should be reduced in total carbohydrate, and simple carbohydrate should be significantly reduced, and sugar and fried food and higher consumption of complex carbohydrate. So sugar and fried food should be reduced, and we should encourage more of this complex carbohydrate with high protein intake. Indian diet is poor in protein intake. Our protein intake is something like 5 to 10% in our diet, but we want that they should be consuming something like 15% of their calories should come from protein. Then Indians are very peculiarly using higher salt. So we want that they should be reducing salt intake. So moderation in salt intake is recommended. And as we just discussed that we are a lazy population, we are really very poorly having this physical activity. So we should be encouraging increased duration and frequency of physical activity whenever needed. So it is needed in most of our patients. And mass awareness campaign for healthy diet and lifestyle should be conducted. And this is one of the effort in that direction. So dear friends, this is a slide which is comprising whole of dietary recommendation for our diabetic patients. So recommendations for medical nutrition therapy in patients with type 2 diabetes. So here they divided this whole plate into 4 aspects: carbohydrate, protein, fat, and diet pattern. So here they say that in carbohydrate, we should be limiting it to 50 to 60% of total calories intake. Then food with low glycemic index and with low glycemic load. So these two important things, glycemic index and glycemic load, these are two important points whenever we are advising our dietary recommendation. Rice quality should be limited and quantity should be limited, and fiber should be encouraged. So they say something like 40 grams of fiber every day should be consumed by our patients, and fiber is coming from either cereals, covering of them, or fruits and vegetables. And you find here in protein, they say 15% of total calories should be provided by the protein. Consider other comorbidities, renal status, and age of the patient while you are recommending protein, because sometimes our patients are having really protein malnutrition. So you have to recommend higher protein. Sometime in renal impairment, we say that they in place of 1 gram per kilogram of body weight, they should consume 0.8 gram per kilogram of body weight, because in nephropathy, we want to limit protein. But this point is very, very contentious, because in Indian context, we are already having less protein. So you have to be very careful in restricting the protein even in our renally impaired patient. So limit the red meat. That is very important. In our non-vegetarian people, we should say that they should shift from red meat to white meat and other preferable source of protein. In fat, we all know that 30% of total calories should be from fat, and we should have rotation of the oil. This is very important point. Not a single oil preparation should be used, because all these vegetable oils are having some properties, some good thing and some bad thing. So what they recommend that you should use 2 or 3 types of oil, and you should keep on rotating them. Rotating here means, for example, you are having 3 different oils. So in the morning you are using other oil, in the evening you are using another oil. Okay. Foods with high saturated fat must be avoided. This is important, and saturated fat should be less than 10%, and we should be avoiding this hydrogenated vegetable oil, what we say vanaspati or dalda, etc. Diet pattern, the way they say that our diet should be rich in fruits, vegetables, salads and nuts and fibers and whole grains rather than very fine grain and unsaturated fat. So this is important point. And pulses, legumes and unprocessed vegetables and low fat dairy should be used. And as earlier recommended, salt should be reduced to less than 5 grams. And if the patient is having hypertension, even it should be reduced to 3 grams. And artificial sweeteners are not contraindicated, but we usually avoid them during pregnancy. And we usually say that use as little as possible. So dear
Excuse
friends,
me, sir.
yeah, please.
A comment about the oils. What I usually do is we follow that. The Indian system has got inbuilt oil rotation system. We find that our seasonal rotation system is there in winter, in rainy days, in summers, we use different cooking oils. So that is inbuilt in our system. So we should encourage our population, especially rural population, to follow those traditional sites way of using the various oils and cooking and all.
Very good point, doctor.
Exactly. Can I comment here? Because this is the very valid point. And if you are going to your peripheral physicians and your colleague physicians in the periphery, it is very good thing. कुछ सब्जियां किसी ऑयल में बनती हैं, कुछ सब्जियां किसी ऑयल में बनती हैं. तो पहले जमाने में we can follow our mothers and grandmothers, and they used to. Hello, Dr. Surendra Kumar.
Please unmute.
Dr. Surendra Kumar, mute yourself.
Mute yourself.
Yeah.
Mute.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a very valid point you have given, that you can follow our mothers and grandmothers, which they were actually using the oils in a different, जैसे किसी और सब्जी का बैंगन की सब्जी किसी में बनती थी, किसी और की सब्जी किसी चीज में ऑयल में बनती थी. और so that is the good point. I think we should disseminate this particular point to our colleagues in the periphery and ultimately to the general public. This is very good. And actually it is a omega-6 omega-3 ratio which is very important. So जैसे एसके शर्मा साहब ने बोला कि रोटेशन करें, यदि हम दिन में नहीं कर सकते तो एटलीस्ट हमें कुछ दिनों में मॉडरेशन में कभी सोयाबीन, कभी सरसों का तेल, कभी अदर ऑयल्स, so we can rotate our oils. ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं. Very good, sir. Thank you.
Next important point in recommendation is physical activity. And here they say that minimum of 150 minutes per week of physical activity is recommended every day for healthy Indians. And here I will again want to highlight that recently there came out a report that because Indians are having less muscle mass and more of fat mass, that's why they say that 150 may not be sufficient, and they recommend 250 minutes of activity for our patients. But here what they say is a minimal of 150 minutes of activity in a day. And for this, they say that 30 minutes or more than that of moderate intensity aerobic activity per day, and 15 to 30 minutes of work related activity. So that is a very important point, that you had done a physical activity in the morning, for example, a walk of 30 minutes or so, but throughout the day, you should not be sluggish. Throughout the day, you should also work related activity should be keep on going, because that is very, very important. This is non-exercise related activity, which is important. And then, of course, they again highlighted, in addition to aerobic activity, 15 minutes of muscle strengthening exercises. What we say, muscle strengthening exercise means that push-ups and our gymnasium, which is providing this type of instruments where we are stretching our muscles. Those activities should be done at least 3 times in a week for a period of at least 15 minutes. So on one hand, aerobic exercise, which are using larger muscles like running, jogging, walking and cycling, etc. Or you can say sports during that sea level or yachting, etc. But here they say that muscle strengthening exercises, stretching exercises are also done. Here important point is that you should be promoting yoga. But what happens, sometimes yoga is not sufficient. So in addition to yoga, they should be doing this aerobic activity and stretching activity. That is my point. Yoga is good, but you should not avoid, in addition to yoga, these things. So stretching and aerobic exercises are recommended. And if they can do it more than 30 minutes, for example, 45 minutes a day or so, that will be far, far better. So dear friends, this is that what we say RSSDI ESI therapeutic wheel. And here important point which I want to highlight is that this wheel have many circles there. In the center, you find LSM, that is lifestyle modification. So this is to be done with every patient. Okay. Surrounding it, you find metformin. And in metformin, there is a gap there in C. C means chronic kidney disease in our diabetic patient. So because we know that in significant chronic kidney disease, we should avoid metformin. That's why there is a gap there in metformin. And then they have written A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And these are the points which are highlighting. A stands for advancing age. So there are some modification if we have a elderly patient, because in elderly patient, we don't want that they should develop hypoglycemia, because there is a unawareness of hypoglycemia in elderly patients. That's why we should be very careful about some of the drugs like sulfonylurea and DPP-4 inhibitors are preferred there. B stands for BMI. That is, our weight is continuously increasing. So we select some drugs which are reducing the weight or at least not increasing the weight. So BMI stands for B. C, as we discussed, stands for chronic kidney disease, or you can say diabetic kidney disease. And here there is some modification in diet like reduction of protein and some of the drugs which we should be avoiding and some of the drugs which are preferred there. We will be discussing in subsequent slides. D stands for duration of diabetes. Increasing duration require number of drugs which is increasing and some of the drugs which are independent of insulin. So some drugs which are required insulin on board are very good in the early diabetic patients, but some of these drugs which are not requiring insulin on board, like SGLT2 inhibitors, like GLP-1 receptor agonist, etc. These are preferred in longer duration of diabetes. And of course, ultimately, once the patient is having long duration of diabetes and endogenous insulin is significantly reduced, then insulin, as we all know, comes on the picture. Then E stands for established cardiovascular disease. Dear friends, 20 to 30% of our daily patients are having either frank cardiovascular disease or they are having asymptomatic atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. So we have to identify them and then we have to modify our therapy in such a way that there are now some drugs which are preferred in this type of patients. For example, SGLT2 inhibitors, GLP-1 receptor agonists are preferred in these patients who are having established atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease in addition to metformin. F stands for finance. Here, because in Indian context, finance is a very important point because many of our patients has to purchase their drugs from their pocket. So whether he is having sufficient fund with him or he is inadequate in that, accordingly, we will be modifying the therapy. We have so many you can say economical drugs available like sulfonylurea, metformin are economical in our country. Even pioglitazone, which is very costly in West, is very economical in India. And now even SGLT2 inhibitors are coming in a generic form, which is again a very good boost to our patients. And earlier DPP4 inhibitors were also in generic form, which is again very economical. And tenaligliptin and vildagliptin are now, you can say, poor man's gliptin therapy. So these are some of the drugs which we will be discussing. Then G stands for glycemic status. As we know that glycemic status is measured by fasting blood glucose, postprandial blood glucose, and HbA1c, which we do every 3 months or so. So what is their fasting PP and SGLT2, GLP, HbA1c, and then accordingly we will be selecting the drugs. For example, a patient where the HbA1c is very mildly elevated, probably he require monotherapy or just dual therapy. But if the HbA1c is very high, we have to start with dual therapy or even sometimes triple therapy. And if it is very, very high, like HbA1c of more than 10, 11 or so, sometimes we recommend insulin on board, like basal insulin with oral antidiabetic drugs. H stands for a very important point, that is hypoglycemia. Many of our patients are having higher prevalence of hypoglycemia, particularly our very young patients or our very old patients. So there we should be choosing an anti-diabetic drug in such a way that they do not cause hypoglycemia. For example, insulin and sulfonylurea causes more hypoglycemia. DPP4 inhibitor, GLP-1 receptor agonist, and alpha glucosidase inhibitors do not cause hypo in addition to metformin. So we have to change the drugs if the patient is having hypoglycemia. Here you find that green circle is there. Green circle indicates that you can use any of these drugs in your patient in addition to metformin. Here, an important point is that if some of these patients who cannot tolerate metformin, like 5 to 10% of our patient, then you can use any of these drugs as a monotherapy, and you may not start metformin in them, or you stop metformin and start any of these drugs. So green means you are free to choose any of these drugs according to the patient's profile. Then the orange one indicates the next circle, that how you will be selecting according to this A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And here important point is the hierarchy of the therapy is depicted in a clockwise rotation. So for example, if you say A and you look into A and clockwise, you find DPP is first, AGI second, SGLT2 third, and then pioglitazone, and then sulfonylurea, and then GLP-1 receptor, and last is insulin. So hierarchy is according to the clockwise rotation. That is important. There are so many drugs written there, but what is the hierarchy? Hierarchy means which is the preferred among them. Means you have to go clockwise. Okay. And then the last point is red point, red circle. And red circle indicates that everything is now in a higher strata. And here you have to somehow, some of the drugs are omitted there, which are there in the orange bar, you can say circle or yellow circle, and you have to select those drugs. In severely, you can say, chronic kidney disease, you find that only DPP4 and insulin is related there. Okay, and similarly, severe duration, long duration of diabetes, again they say insulin, GLP-1, SGLT2 and AGI are recommended, because these are the drugs which are, you can say, insulin independent, and insulin is also added there. So accordingly, you have to select this. So this is a wheel. You can keep this photo of this or a photocopy of this under your, you can say, glass of your table. And this is a very, very useful circle, or what we say wheel, and we should be adopting this wheel in our patients. So at this point, anybody wants to comment, Dr. Swati or Dr. Arvind or anybody else?
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
madam.
this is a very, thank you, sir. This is a very useful therapeutic wheel which has been made, and it has been very systematically made for very different group of people as to what should be our priorities, while what things we should keep into consideration. So I think everything has been kept into consideration, especially when we talk about the CKD, because many a times our doctor friends may not be very sure as to which anti-diabetic we can use in CKD. It is very well highlighted in the yellow as well as in the red. The red being, as sir said, that in severe you can only then shift to DPP-4 and insulin, whereas if it is not that severe, then if the GFR is somewhat better, we can think of the ones which are seen in the yellow circle. So I think this is a very useful therapeutic wheel, and it is very much useful. We should use this wheel and the drug accordingly treat also. So that will help us to disseminate the work which has been done by the RSSGA team in making such a wonderful depiction. Very useful.
Thank you. Thank you for your.
I want to comment one thing.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
we put one note down that patient having GFR below 30, don't use metformin. Above 45, half dose.
Yeah.
60, full
Yes.
dose.
These slides are coming, Dr. Kemsara. These slides are
Okay.
coming in explanation. This is a
Okay.
simple, you can say, abstract of everything.
Okay.
So now we will be discussing the each part. We will be now
Okay.
discussing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H individually.
डॉक्टर
Okay.
शर्मा,
डॉक्टर
Yeah.
खेसरा, जब आप जाएंगे ना, मतलब अपने कलीग फिजिशियन को गांवों में और पर्टिकुलरली वहां
Okay.
पे आपको EGFR इज नॉट पॉसिबल. तो यदि ये सिंपल ये व्हील को देख के ही वो ट्रीटमेंट अपना मॉडिफाई कर सकते हैं. सो दैट इज द पॉइंट ऑफ हैविंग व्हील एट द पेरिफेरल लेवल, नॉट एट द आपको कंसल्टेंट लेवल पे सर नहीं बता रहे हैं, अभी सर बता रहे हैं ओनली एट द पेरिफेरल लेवल. आपको पेरिफेरल लेवल पे जो मिनिमाइज करना है, जैसे फाइनेंशियल आपको कभी कंस्ट्रेंट है तो ओनली सल्फोनिल यूरिया, इंसुलिन और पायोग्लिटाजोन जो कि
No, if you got serum
मैं
creatine level,
समझ
you
गया.
can see the
आपका
mobile.
एज ए कंसल्टेंट लेवल एवरीथिंग इज ओके. अभी आ रहे हैं सर उस पे, लेकिन
Individually, yeah, individually. we-
मोस्टली दिस व्हील इज फॉर द पेरिफेरल, बिल्कुल रूरल फिजिशियंस के लिए.
No, no, not.
I'll
This
like
can
to make a
be
comment.
with us
Yes,
in
sir.
our table. So it is very useful.
Everybody has got now smartphone. They can see the EGFR by the mobile also. You just
Yeah.
put the value of creatinine and age, will get the EGFR.
Dr.
Sir,
Kemsara, we'll be
creatinine भी बहुत
discussing
जगह
that point
नहीं
in the
होता
length in subsequent slides. Yeah.
A comment about the wheel, just a small comment.
Yeah.
I remember our say, hello,
Please
Yes, yes.
keep on. Yeah.
am I audible?
Yeah,
I'm
audible.
I remember
Yes, yes.
our my guide, Professor K. Kumar, used to say the Hutchinson, which you used to keep in the ward in the pockets. He said you can read it 100 times. Every time you read it, you find something new. So the
Yeah.
same is with this wheel. Every time you go through this wheel, you find something new, and it's very, very, very helpful in practicing. So I'll recommend that we should use it very frequently and tell everyone about it.
On your left side, the wheel is there. On right side, the explanation of the wheel is there on this text material. And here again, I will want to highlight one more point, which is highlighted with the yellow highlighter, that you have to go from clockwise if you are
Clockwise.
selecting the drugs. That is very important. Okay. For example, when hypoglycemia is there, for H, you look at H, hypoglycemia, then SGLT2, DPP4, pioglitazone, AGI. These are the hierarchy. So first, if you consider first, SGLT2 and DPP4 are considered to be having no hypoglycemia. Okay. So that is very important point. And red circle indicates more severe and more advanced disease, and you have to select accordingly. Those names are there. Okay. So let's go to the next. So
शर्मा जी, एक चीज मैं पूछना चाह रहा हूँ.
परमा जी बताएं.
आपने अभी कोई लेटेस्ट एडवांसमेंट में जो एडवांसिंग जो एज है,
Yeah.
is there any criteria for this advancing age?
WHO says that if you are more than 65, you are advancing age. Okay. And FDA says something else. They say 70 years. So here important point is that once the person is having more than 60 or 65, you have to be slightly modify your therapy, because in advancing age, the concern is already patient is taking multi-therapy for so many other conditions. He is suffering from hypertension, prostate, or ischemic heart disease, or so many other conditions, okay, geriatric conditions. So those things will come into the picture. So polytherapy is there, polypharmacy is there. And then these are the patients who are having higher chances of developing hypoglycemia, because in advancing age, the you can say awareness of hypoglycemia is you can say subsequently significantly reduced. That's why we have to be very, very careful. And many of these old patients are also living alone, or they don't have family members who are working in other cities or in other countries. So you find that now this type of population is increasing, where they are well to do, but their sons and daughters are living in America and Europe, and they are living in India. They don't want to go to Europe or America. And these type of patients living alone, you don't want them to develop hypoglycemia, because they are having no subsequent family support system there. So that's why this advancing age is also an important point. Dear friends, important point is diabetes is a heterogeneous disease. You have a diabetic patient who develops diabetes at 25, 30 or 35. One is developing at 60. One is very lean, one is very obese. One is having so many comorbidities, other is having no comorbidity. We have seen very healthy people at age of 65. They are doing their walking and sticking to their diet and managing their diabetes very effectively. So you have to look into, in elderly patient, again, they divided the elderly patient into 3 subsets according to the, you can say, working condition. Some are absolutely fit to do their work, and they don't have any mental problem, memory problem, or you can say psychological problem. So you have to treat them differently. And some are really handicapped. So they require everything from other person. Even taking drug is to be done by some other, you can say, help. And then in between there are who are having severe sarcopenia or some comorbidities, you have to modify the drug. So even in elderly patient, they divide these patients in three groups. So dear friends, let's next go to this. This is same what we discussed, that A stands for advancing age, B for advancing BMI or weight, C for chronic kidney disease in our diabetic patient, D for duration of diabetes, advancing duration. E is very important because cardiovascular disease is very common in our diabetic patient, and they are the cause of you can say morbidity and mortality. And then financial condition as stands, which again is important in Indian context. Glycemic status, as we discussed, fasting, PP and HbA1c, and hypoglycemia again we discussed. So this is ABCDEFGH approach by RSSDI wheel. And here they say individualize the therapy. You have to individualize according to the presence of these features in your patient. For example, here they say choice of any OAD should be considered in this ABCD type of patients. Patient's general health status is to be looked into, and associated medical disorders has to be looked into. And patient-centric approach is this, whereby we look into the patient's characteristic, patient's features, and then according to those characteristics and features, we modify our therapy. So this is ABCD. And for any type 2 diabetic patient, first line of therapy is metformin, unless like we discussed 5 to 10% may not be tolerating. So you can choose any of the other drugs in them and you can stop metformin in them. So dear friends, let's go to individual ABCD. A, here A stands for advancing age. And here you can see that these are the drugs on the left side, like sulfonylurea. Here they say that only modern sulfonylurea, that is glimepiride and glycoside modified release, they are safe to use, and you have to be careful about hypoglycemia. So there is some risk of this hypoglycemia with this modern sulfonylurea also. So here, if the patient is having advancing age, we will be preferring to use in lower doses. Okay. Then second is DPP-4 inhibitor, which is, I should say, is considered in our elderly patient. They are considered to be good in reducing HbA1c by tune of something like 0.5 to 0.7%. AGIs are okay, modest efficacy, but you should be knowing that they usually causes this GI side effects like flatulence, abdominal distension, diarrhea, etc. So sometimes These are the troublesome thing for our elderly population. And then glitazones. Glitazones, as we know, causes weight gain, fluid retention, and many of these elderly patients are having background cardiovascular disease, congestive heart failure, and of course, osteoporosis in our post-menopausal ladies. And that's why we usually avoid glitazones. SGLT2 inhibitors are now coming into a great way in this group of patients. Earlier, there were some concern that above 65 or 70 years, we should not be using these SGLT2, but recent, you can say, studies are done even after 70 years, and they say that the side effect profile is not going higher, but the only caution should be that if these patients are having recurrent genitourinary infection or genital mycotic infection, we should be very, very careful. And many of these patients are also taking some diuretics, etc. So there you should be more careful that probably hypovolemia or postural symptoms, dizziness, etc. may be there with SGLT2 inhibitors. And if you require in a long duration of diabetes, they say that start with basal insulin rather than mixtures or basal bolus therapy. And GLP-1 receptor agonists, they say you should be careful that because many of these drugs are causing some GI side effects, and cost is also a important consideration there. But these are good drugs, but to be given in caution, because some of our patients are not able to tolerate these drugs because of GI side effects, and then cost is an important therapy, and these are at present injectable. Although in West, they have started using oral GLP-1 receptor agonists like semaglutide, but it is not available in India. So dear friends, B stands for BMI, which indirectly indicates that increasing body weight of our patients. And here they prefer drugs which either causes weight loss or those who are weight neutral. So as we all know, SGLT2 inhibitors and GLP-1 receptor agonists are weight losing drugs. So these are preferred here in our obese patients or overweight patients. But sometimes we have to use drugs which do not cause weight gain. They are weight neutral, like DPP-4 inhibitor, alpha glucosidase inhibitors. And even if you have to use insulin, probably basal insulin is causing less weight gain, and sulfonylureas are causing small weight gain, modern sulfonylurea like glimepiride and glycoside modified release. So you have to be careful about them. Okay. Then C stands, as we discussed earlier also, diabetic kidney disease, or C stands for CKD in our diabetic patients. So evidence suggests that two oral hypoglycemic agents like DPP-4 inhibitors, SGLT2 inhibitors, these are preferred. And now GLP-1 receptor agonist injectable drugs are also considered to be renoprotective. So these two drugs, at least SGLT2 and GLP-1, are now having evidence of renal protection. DPP-4 inhibitors may be renal protective, or renally you can say some of them are causing decrease in proteinuria. So these drugs are, you can say, preferred in our patients of CKD. Only point is that DPP-4 inhibitors, except linagliptin, most of them require reduction in doses as the renal profile is deteriorating. SGLT2 inhibitors can be given now up to a estimated GFR of 30. And GLP-1 can be given up to a estimated GFR of 15. So GLP-1 is now, you can say, pushed towards a severe renally impaired patient. But in that patients, again, these are the patients who are already having nausea, vomiting, etc. So sometimes GLP-1 cannot be tolerated by them. So at least above 30, we can use GLP-1 in them. But SGLT2 above 30 is recommended because recent SGLT2 trials are clearly telling us that there is a significant protection of kidney function when we are using SGLT2 inhibitors. So this is important there. So these are the drugs. For example, metformin, you have to be very, very careful, because in the wheel, if you see, the metformin is everywhere, but CKD, there is a gap there. So why they have put that gap? Because if, for example, estimated GFR is less than 30, then you should be avoiding metformin. If it is between 30 to 44, you should be reducing metformin to say 1000 milligram per day, most of the time we use metformin 2000 milligram per day, but here in this 30 to 44, you have to reduce the dose and you have to more frequently look into the renal profile. Once it is more than 45, you can very well use metformin in full doses. Similarly, they say short-acting sulfonylureas are preferred like glipizide and gliclazide, but they caution us that you should be using them in a lower doses. And gliclazide and modified release and glimepiride again can be used in this renally impaired patient, but in lower doses because there is a chances of hypoglycemia. Again, they say that AGIs, alpha glucosidase inhibitors like acarbose or voglibose, can be used in mild to moderate renally impaired patient, but you should be avoiding them once the creatinine is more than 2, or because these patients are already having nausea, vomiting, and these drugs causes abdominal distension, bloating, and diarrhea, and sometimes nausea. So you should be careful. DPP-4 inhibitors, they say, are drugs which are preferred, but you have to modify the doses. Except linagliptin, you have to be careful, like you have to reduce the doses of sitagliptin, saxagliptin, and vildagliptin in these patients who are having renally impaired patients. So dear friends, again they highlighted other drugs also like ripaglinide. This is meglinitinide, one of the meglinitide, which is considered to be good in our CKD patient. Why? Although it acts like sulfonylurea, but their duration of action is very short and they are given just before the meal and they take care of postprandial hyperglycemia. So if the patient is eating, you give ripaglinide either 0.5 milligram or 1 milligram according to the severity of the hyperglycemia, and then you look into hypo also, but chances of hypo with ripaglinide is very low because short duration of action and they are prandial, you can say, drugs. Pioglitazone we usually avoid in CKD because they also cause fluid retention and they may precipitate congestive heart failure. SGLT2, as we discussed, are preferred because they are renoprotective. So many of these drugs like canagliflozin, DAPA, and EMPA have undergone their not only cardiovascular outcome trial but CKD trial also. Now we have canagliflozin underwent a CREDENCE trial and dapagliflozin underwent a DAPA CKD trial. And here now here it is written that you should avoid below 60. But after these trials, we are now, you can say, using these drugs up to 30 estimated GFR. GLP-1 receptor agonists are recommended, as we discussed, up to a 15 estimated GFR, and insulin are considered to be the safest, although in advanced CKD, the amount of insulin is to be reduced because these patients do not require higher doses of insulin. So you have to be taking a very carefulness, increasing the doses of insulin. So this is the point here in CKD. D stands for duration of diabetes. As the duration of diabetes is increasing, you find that the endogenous insulin is decreasing. So you have to modify the therapy because some of the drugs require insulin on board. So there you have to be careful. So in early phase of diabetes, you are free to use most of these drugs. Okay. But once the patient is having long duration of diabetes, you have to be careful that drugs like SGLT2, GLP-1, DPP-4 inhibitors are preferred, and metformin also continued, but you have to be careful about sulfonylurea because they have shorter durability of diabetes. So sometimes those drugs are not working in this long duration of diabetes. And of course, basal insulin comes into the picture, and then you have to go for basal plus or basal bolus therapy. So duration of diabetes is important. And here they again highlighted an important concept of legacy effect. Here they say that in UK-PDS study, when these patients are followed, there were two arms, conventional arm and intensive arm. So in this study, which lasted for more than 7 years, you find that they were having a difference of something like 0.9%. Okay, but once you stop this UK-PDS, then these patients are followed by the local physicians, and there the difference was now nullified. All these patients who are on intensive arm or conventional arm are having similar HbA1c. But when you follow them in the follow-up of this UK-PDS post-trial follow-up, you find that those patients who are earlier in intensive arm are still having less you can say complication rate. And that's why they say that you should start hitting these patients right from the beginning with a very good control. So hit them hard right from the beginning, achieve good control very early in the patient's diabetic, you can say, life. And then when you follow these patients, they will be having a good legacy effect, and the rate of complication will be significantly reduced. So this stands for D. E is very, very important. E stands for established cardiovascular disease. In patients with diabetes, you have many of these patients are having established cardiovascular disease. You will be finding that they have myocardial infarction, stroke, or suffering from angina, etc., or sometimes multiple cardiovascular risk factors like obesity, hypertension, dyslipidemia, etc. So in this group of patients, subclinical cardiovascular disease is very, very high. So you have to first look into and try to identify ischemic heart disease or other cardiovascular disease, and the drugs like GLP-1 receptor agonist and SGLT2 receptor inhibitors are preferred here. Okay, so in patient with heart failure and CKD, SGLT2 inhibitors or GLP-1 receptor agonists are considered to be important patient drugs. Pioglitazone, as we all know, causes fluid retention. So you should be very careful in patients who are having congestive heart failure. But there are some studies which say that pioglitazone also reduces macrovascular disease. So macrovascular disease is okay, but once congestive heart failure is there, you have to be slightly more careful. And then some of these DPP-4 inhibitors like linagliptin and other can be used in these patients. And very important point that once you have a patient with cardiovascular disease, you find that he is also having higher chances of hypertension, higher chances of CKD, etc. So look into these type of, you can say, comorbid conditions and treat these patients. F is again very important, financial concerns. Our patients, many of them are not able to afford very, you can say, costly drugs. In India, I should say our patients are lucky because our pharmaceutical companies are, you can say, very proactive, and they bring out very financially economical drugs to our patients. So now we have generic DPP-4 inhibitor, we have generic SGLT2 inhibitor, and even exenatide is also available in a generic form. So these drugs are now can be given to our, you can say, economically challenged patient. But in this type of patients, they say we should be using more of sulfonylurea, metformin. Pioglitazone is also, you can say, economical in our patients. And some of these DPP-4 inhibitors and SGLT2 inhibitors are also economical in our country as compared to West. In West, pioglitazone is very costly, and all these DPP-4 and SGLT2 are very, very costly. But in India, we are lucky that we have some of these generic preparations. Dear friends, G stands for glycemic status. This is also very important. You look at fasting, postprandial, and HbA1c of your patients, and you identify that your patient is having high glycemic load or lower glycemic load. And accordingly, you have drugs. Some of the drugs are very highly effective. They reduce the glycemic load very effectively, like insulin, GLP-1, SGLT2, etc. Then some of them are moderate in their efficacy, like pioglitazone, DPP-4 inhibitors. Sulfonylurea is, as we all know, are very highly effective. They reduce HbA1c to a tune of 1 to 2% according to the baseline HbA1c. And this AGI are moderate, and glinides like ripaglinide is again moderate in their glycemic efficacy. So sometimes you have to modify the drug according to the glycemic load of that patient. And here again, I will highlight that many of these patients require combination of therapy. So combination is very, very important. If the patient's HbA1c is more than 1.5% above the target, then usually we say start with dual therapy. And if the patient is having very high HbA1c, like more than 10, they say you can also bring in basal insulin, and with that metformin at least, or other anti-diabetic drugs. So according to the glycemic status, you have to choose the combination of drugs also. Dear friends, H stands for hypoglycemia. This is the last, you can say, characteristic of our patient. They say that hypoglycemia is to be looked into because many a times some of these drugs may cause severe hypoglycemia and they may shatter the confidence of patient in our drugs as well as in our doctor. So that's why we have to be very careful in hypoglycemia, particularly in patients who are elderly, patients who are suffering from like CKD, or those who are suffering from many comorbid conditions. So that is important that you have to be careful about hypoglycemia in your patient. And some of the drugs, like you can see here, sulfonylurea, insulin causes more hypoglycemia, and some of the drugs are very, very useful, like DPP-4 inhibitor, AGIs, SGLT2. They are very, very useful because the chances of hypoglycemia with these drugs are very, very low. So you have to select the patient therapy according to the status of his hypoglycemia and hypoglycemic unawareness. So here I just want to say my clinical input that sometimes we are using very high doses of sulfonylurea. Dear friends, try to use like glimepiride in 1 milligram, 2 milligram. Once you are about 2 milligram, you have to be very, very careful about hypoglycemia. And if you require really higher doses of glimepiride or glycoside, then I think the best approach will be to combine other drugs like DPP-4 with lower doses of glimepiride or GLP-1 receptor or SGLT2 inhibitors. So these are important points. And pioglitazone is also important because pioglitazone also do not cause hypoglycemia. So dear friends, we have finished this ESI therapeutic wheel. And here we discuss this ABCD, EFGH. These are the characteristics of our patients. And according to these characteristics, we have to modify the drugs or selection of the drugs accordingly. And as we just discussed that there are so many green, yellow and red bars or wheels there, and you have to select the patients accordingly. So dear friends, few of the last slides are there. When you see a patient in your clinic, prescribe lifestyle intervention to all. So this is to be given to all: diet, exercise, and cardiovascular risk factor reduction. You have to not only look at hyperglycemia, but look at weight of the patient, blood pressure of the patient, lipid of the patient, and whether he is smoking or not. That is also important. And alcohol moderation is also. Metformin, as we all know, is considered to be the core drug and the first drug, except 5 to 10% where they do not tolerate this. Identify 2 to 3 important concerns about the patient. Out of these ABCDFGH, your patient will be having 2 or 3 things, like he is having very long duration of diabetes, or he is having hypoglycemia tendency, or he is having, you can say, more atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. So look at those characteristics and accordingly you identify those characteristics and modify your therapy. Identify the best choices available in the outer rings like yellow rings and red rings. Further fine tune your choices. Sometimes you have started using one, but you find that the patient is not really happy with that. So you can reconsider the choice there. Make a rational choice with the individualized approach and identify the complications and its management strategies. So these are some of the important inputs once we are dealing into our diabetic patient. So dear friends, in the end, we can say that our diabetic patients are different. One, you can say, approach do not fit into all of them, and you have to look into those characteristics of the patient. Then lastly, they say that some of these complementary and alternative therapies are available, particularly in India. We have so many different therapies: Ayurveda, homeopathy, Siddha, Unani, naturopathy, etc. Of course, we recommend, you can say, yoga, etc., meditation, pranayam, etc. But most of these other therapies we should not combine. So here you can see in the red, not to prescribe complementary and alternative medication to treat your diabetic patient. Of course, we should be very, very careful in this type of mixtures of therapy. That is very important. So dear friends, in the last, this is a conclusion slides. Management of type 2 diabetes has a substantial effect on individualized and socially health and psychological well-being of our patients, and you have to look into the quality of life of our patients, and of course economical repercussions. If the patient is having no complication, on an average he is purchasing 1,500 to 2,500 rupees medicine every month. Okay, but if the patient is having complication, then complications causes severe increase in you can say cost of the therapy. So we have to avoid the development of complication by very tight control of diabetes on one hand, and tighter control of all the risk factors like obesity, hypertension, dyslipidemia also. Diabetes management planning should be individualized and not a one size fit all treatment pattern for patient with diabetes. So one size fit all is not a concept in diabetic management. You have to individualize the therapy according to the characteristics of the patient, and this is the real world approach in the management of our diabetic patients. So thank you, dear friends, for your very kind, I should say, you are all listening to the lecture very patiently. So thank you. And now we can discuss it out. I have two stalwarts with me, Dr. Swati and Dr. Arvind. They will give a question, answer to all your difficult questions.
And simple questions will be answered by Dr. S.K. Sharma.
Absolutely.
I think there is nothing like question and answers, but the most important thing is that I think he has in details given you all the ingredients of the RSSDI ESI wheel, and because you have to roll out this RSSDI wheel to your colleagues, so that is very important. So I think nothing can be added, but if you have any questions,
discuss is out is that sometimes when you are rolling it out in your districts and in your areas, then sometimes there will be difficult questions posed to you. So you should be able to answer them. So that's why we are discussing these things now.
Sir, any questions or any?
I must really compliment Dr. S.K. Sharma sir for rolling out the first episode so smoothly and in so well detailed, clear and lucid as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, in one of your slide in that exercise, you mentioned that 150 minutes per week.
Yeah.
But in next slide, there was per day it was around 100 minutes. So how it is 150 per week, and then
30 minutes per day is recommended. So
no, sir. If we will add all the stretching 15 to 20 minutes, then your moderate is 30 minutes, and then your office, so it will come around 90 minutes per day.
Minimum, Dr. Daria, minimum is 150, and they say that aerobic exercise 30 minutes per day is must, and then it will be very good if you add 15 minutes of stretching and you can say your muscle strengthening exercises. Okay, and you can even add yoga also. What happens in Indian context, most of our patients are not doing exercise. Even if they're doing exercise, they say, Doctor Sahab, मैं तो yoga करता हूँ. हमसे पूछो yoga क्या है? Yoga हो गया. That is not the yoga. Yoga means all the physical activity which is there. So in addition to aerobic exercises like walking, running, jogging, cycling, you have to say that now you can do yoga for 10, 15, 20 minutes. So this aerobic exercise are important. And then they say if you add 15 minutes of these resistance exercises like lifting the dumbbells, etc., or stretching, those gym exercises are considered to be resistance exercises. Okay, then these are flexibility exercises also. So these exercises are also very helpful. They increase the tone of the muscle. They really helpful in reducing the insulin resistance at the level of the muscle. So that's why we say, in addition to aerobic exercise, one should also have at least 3 days in a week a resistance exercises. Okay, so as I told you in one of the very important lecture, in an article I should say, they say that Indians are having higher metabolic load because of low muscle mass and high fat mass. So 150 is not really effective in our patient. Our patient will be gaining much if we do 250 per week. And that's why we have to say minimal is 30 minutes per day.
Sir,
Okay.
one question from
Yes.
that is a difficult question, so it goes to Dr. Arvind Gupta, sir.
Yeah. All the difficult to Arvind Gupta.
Yeah. Okay.
Criteria are different for pre-diabetics and diabetics. I think this exercise for diabetics. Pre-diabetic, I think they require more. I think as per guidelines. So over to Dr. Arvind Gupta, sir.
Sir, my take on this particular aspect, I cannot differentiate between the pre-diabetics and diabetics. I think your question is any difference of exercise, yoga in pre-diabetics or diabetics. I don't think. Dr. S.K. Sharma sahab has very clearly told all the Indian patients have a severe metabolic load. They are sarcopenic, they are hypoproteinemic, they are having high fat. So they require different type of exercise, especially this yoga. Actually, from me, it is very effective tool in our patient. Number one, aerobic exercises are very, very important. Now, more important thing, what मैं कैसे मतलब how I explain 2-3 things I always say कि exercise कैसे help करती है, whether the pre-diabetes, diabetes or whatever it is. 3 things. One thing, if you are doing daily 30 minutes of exercise in the morning, you have only one happy hormone, that is endorphin, which cannot be generated by any drug or any Mercedes or any, luxury items. Only 30 minutes walking or aerobic exercise can generate endorphins, which is happy hormone, which is equivalent to opioid. So much of opioids. So that is, if you want happy whole day, you have to exercise at least 30 minutes a day and you will be happy. Number one. Number two, if जो patients को आते हैं जो ED वाले या जिनको थोड़े बहुत बीच के वाले patients होते हैं, so I always say जिसने भी weight loss कर दिया, जो obese हैं या moderately overweight हैं, if they lose their weight, their sexual performance increases like anything. Plus 30 minutes exercises can increase your you can go away with your ED problems. So these two things से जिसको भी करना होता है ना, वो इससे यदि खुश रहना है या आपको ED हटानी है तो एक्सरसाइज करना जरूरी है. So this is my take, what I say to my patients.
अरविंद बोस एक नई चीज और है, पेशेंट आते हैं ना.
Just extend his, then we will invite Dr. Rajneesh and Dr. Solanki also. Important point which we usually forget in our management is quality of life of patient. And quality improves with exercises. And as Dr. Arvind highlighted, yoga is good, but as I told you, yoga means real yoga. Those just breathing exercise is not complete yoga. And even with yoga, you should always emphasize that you should have to do aerobic exercises also. And stretching, if you are doing 2 or 3 days in a week, will be added advantage. That is important. Okay. Sir, बताएं. Dr. Rajneesh.
मैंने घुमा दिया आपका थोड़ा सा GD रामचंदानी. थोड़ा घुमा दिया.
अरविंद बोस, आजकल मैक्सिमम पेशेंट्स आते हैं, वो मोबाइल में ऐप डाल रखा है, वो कहते हैं पूरे 10,000 स्टेप चला है या फिर मतलब 5,000. तो उनको मेनली स्ट्रेस देना है कि एरोबिक एक्सरसाइज है.
We have to highlight moderate intensity exercises are helpful in addition to your 10,000 steps. And that is another important point. A person who is doing good exercise, but throughout the day, if he is not working or walking, then it is bad. After 1 hour, they say you have to break your sitting for at least 5 minutes. That is another concept. But exercise is now evolving. Earlier, we used to say, don't do exercise after meal. But now the concept is changing. Do exercise after the meal. It will reduce your postprandial hyperglycemia. So many things are changing in exercise also.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say about what Dr. G.D. Ramchandani was saying, actually in pre-diabetics, like what they say is that you start like that only as a moderate severity exercise, like we routinely say aerobics, running, jogging, fast walking, light cycling. But then the pre-diabetics can enhance, as Dr. GD was saying, that they can enhance to vigorous activities also, because they probably do not have the comorbidities, and they can enhance to vigorous activities like tennis and all those stronger games. So in that also duration, they are mentioning similar, only 150 per minute minimum. That comes to around 30 minutes at least minimum per day. And we say 5 days a week at least. You can have a break of 2 days, but 5 days a week at least. And then they can further be enhanced, especially in pre-diabetics, so that they have better control. They do not progress to type 2 diabetics.
Absolutely.
So that is, I think, one point, I think, Dr. GD Ramchandani, probably you were trying to say.
और whenever
सर
you have,
आज ही एक पेशेंट आया था, पेशेंट का रिलेटिव, एंड ही वाज सेइंग टू मी कि मैं मोर देन 15 किलोमीटर्स चलता हूँ, मोर देन 15 किलोमीटर्स। वो टॉर्चर कर रहा है अपने आप को कि मेरे को प्री डायबिटीज से डायबिटीज में नहीं जाना है, मुझे HbA1c 5.5 रखनी है। ही इज सो टॉर्चरिंग हिमसेल्फ। तो सर ये एक्स्ट्रा टॉर्चरिंग भी अलाउड नहीं है, आई थिंक सो।
absolutely,
Yes,
there are
yes.
some patients who, after their exercises, this type of unpresent exercises, they have higher glucose after exercise because of this discomfort of exercise. So exercise also to be done accordingly. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. So any other question or comments, dear
Sir,
friends?
one question.
Yeah.
Can I ask, sir, one question?
Yes, yes,
Why
yes.
not?
Sir, there is any demarcation as we go from green to red in cardiovascular disease regarding ejection fraction? Like that particular ejection fraction, we have follow green, then red, and then orange, and then this red one.
Ejection fraction, Dr. Saab, means that if the patient is having less than the normal, then we usually label them in a single word that they are suffering from heart failure. Okay. And then in these patients, these are having patients who require SGLT2 inhibitors in addition to the guideline directed heart failure treatment like ACE inhibitors or ARBs, beta blockers, diuretics, and mineralocorticoid receptor agonist, or if the patient can afford, ARNI. So now we are giving SGLT2 inhibitor to these patients, even in our non-diabetic patient, those who are without diabetes, because DAPA heart failure study is clearly indicating that these patients who are without diabetes are also gaining good, you can say, response with SGLT2 inhibitor. But mind it, they are all on guideline directed heart failure therapy, that is beta blocker, ACE or ARBs, mineralocorticoid receptor agonist, and diuretics. Okay.
नहीं सर, जैसे अपन ने ग्रीन से रेड और फिर ऑरेंज, उसमें कोई इजेक्शन फ्रैक्शन,
उसमें SGLT2 एज ए होल आ गया, उसमें आपको उसमें तीनों में अलग नहीं करना है। SGLT2 इन हार्ट फेलियर।
और सर एज में भी ऐसा कुछ है क्या कि ग्रीन में पर्टिकुलर एज पे जाना है, उसके बाद ऑरेंज पे जाना है, देन वी हैव टू गो टू रेड वन?
Once we say age, it means advancing age. जैसे एक आपका न्यूली डायग्नोज्ड पेशेंट आया है, you can use any of these drugs with metformin if HbA1c is high. But for example, a patient is having elderly, as Dr. Girish Verma highlighted, that what do you mean by elderly? So, in elderly patient or in long duration of diabetes, sometimes you have to modify your therapy. That is the point there. In newly diagnosed or a short duration of diabetes patient, you can use any of these drugs.
No, sir, like we diagnose an elderly patient,
Yeah.
say above 60 years or so,
Yeah.
or like post-COVID, we are getting so many patients after COVID, elderly patients. After COVID, they are becoming diabetic.
Because of steroids and stress. Yeah.
So which site we have to follow, the screen or that?
No, again, Doctor Saab, you have to look into all the characteristic of that patient. He is elderly, that is the one important point. But he is newly diagnosed now. Okay. And if his HbA1c is, let's say, 8%, so metformin and a DPP4 is good for him. But if his HbA1c is 13, 14, then probably insulin is required. Okay. So you have to look into his HbA1c, that is glucose profile. Glycemic, you can say, glucose status. Any other questions?
I think.
के शर्मा साहब
We
बताइए।
can,
अरे शाम को खाना खाने के कितनी देर बाद में अपन घूम सकते हैं एट द एज ऑफ 70? Some says the heart requires blood and blood goes to stomach, so you must not walk after taking meals in the night.
वहाँ पे आपने एज डाल दी, अगर आप एज नहीं डालते तो मैं कहता खाने के तुरंत बाद भी जा सकते हैं, पर
हाँ,
once age and you are having other comorbidities, then simple slow walking is required. Okay, but in a young patient, you can say you can walk just after the meal. Even in pregnancy, once they are having GDM, etc., we say that walk 10 to 15 minutes after meal, because postprandial is important in GDM. So that's why we say walk after the meal. But it never means that they are training for a marathon. It is always
Slow walking, slow walking.
slow work. So can we conclude, sir?
Yes, sir.
so over to you, Dr. GD.
No, I think Dr. Chairpersons are there. They first they conclude, then vote of thing by me.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, sir. Dr.
नेक्स्ट वाली डेट अभी फिक्स कर दें क्या सर, एसके शर्मा सर?
है ना,
Next-
बुधवार को है, अगले बुधवार को 8:30 बजे।
Next
तो,
one.
तो नहीं इस बुधवार को नहीं है ना,
अरे
मतलब
आज
नेक्स्ट
बुधवार ही है ना?
सॉरी नेक्स्ट बुधवार आएगा 23rd को।
Because do we have all the
Sorry.
modules right now? Actually, we
हाँ,
have one more case discussion
हाँ
modules.
मॉड्यूल है, तैयार है।
Discussion.
हाँ, case discussion वाला है.
Yeah. Any of you can take that case
So
discussion.
16th को आएगा। So next is 16th JD. It is
Yes.
16th. 16th
है।
is Wednesday, तो 8:30 Wednesday is okay.
Yeah, 16 को
So we'll discuss the
8:30
second
बजे
module.
मिलते हैं, बिल्कुल।
So yeah.
And
So
we
thank
will
you very much.
We will expect many more questions, and even
Yeah, it should be the
question
next.
in addition to this module can be discussed here in this platform.
Right.
वर्मा साहब, आपका कोई comment?
सर ये समर टाइम में 9 बजे का टाइम हो जाए तो, बिकॉज अभी गर्मी है तो 9 बजे तक सब फ्री होते हैं क्लिनिक वगैरह से।
9 बजे कर लें।
9 बजे में दिक्कत नहीं हमें तो।
हाँ सर,
आप देख
सब लोग
लीजिए,
free-
if all are agreed, if all agree, then we can go with the 9 o'clock. Sir, बताइए, anybody?
Yes sir, 9 o'clock is okay. 8:30 is too early.
So
No,
9 o'clock will be okay for 16th.
fine.
for
Okay, so
16th of June.
at 9 we will be meeting again on
Yeah,
16th.
yeah.
Okay, sir.
16.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. S.K. Sharma, sir. Thank you, Dr. Gupta, sir. And thank you, Dr. Swati, for this
Thank you a lot to all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to all.
Thanks
Thanks
to
to all.
coordinators.
those who have
All
attended.
the coordinators, thank you all. Dr. G.
सर आज
Ranjani, thank you.
कोऑर्डिनेटर्स आज वाली मीटिंग में भी नहीं है, पिछली वाली मीटिंग में भी नहीं थे।
तो उनकी जगह हम दूसरे लोगों को ले सकते हैं।
मैं आपसे बात कर लूंगा सर,
Yes, sir.
तो अकॉर्डिंगली वील आई विल रिक्वेस्ट देम, अगर वो तैयार होते हैं।
We will not remove them. We will add some extra people.
ओके, सो यस सर, दिस इज गुड आइडिया। तो एक की जगह दो हो जाएंगे तो ठीक रहेगा सर।
ठीक है।
सो थैंक यू सर। एंड मैंने इसकी फोटो ले ली है, नेशनल को भेज दी है कि वी स्टार्टेड आवर फर्स्ट सेशन।
Roll out.
we'll meeting on next Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
लिंक में शेयर कर दूंगा, स्लाइड्स में सारी शेयर करूंगा, राइट? दोनों जो ये वाला भी और केस वाला भी, दोनों स्लाइड्स में आपको शेयर कर दूंगा और इंडिविजुअल कर दूंगा, तो यू कैन गो थ्रू। और कोई ना कोई केस लेके आए सब लोग, तो वी कैन डिस्कस देयर।
Right.
कोई भी केस ले आए, माइल्ड प्री डायबिटीज, माइल्ड और कॉम्प्लिकेटेड पेशेंट, सो वी कैन डिस्कस, उसमें शायद ज्यादा मजा आएगा।
Right.
तो हमारे सीनियर्स अपने कमेंट्स उसमें देंगे, ठीक है? सो थैंक यू वंस अगेन, थैंक यू सर, थैंक्स टू ऑल ऑफ यू सर।
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
RSS
all of you.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.